It's just like a home, just out in the water.
Bringing light to the Lighthouse. Bay Bulletin takes a tour of Thomas Point Lighthouse to see the work that will be done to keep one of Maryland's most iconic landmarks on the bay. As we pull up, you can see why the volunteers travel about 1.5 miles from the Annapolis shoreline and raise money to replace these rusted beams from 1875.
It used to be 40 of these, but this is the last remaining screw-pile lighthouse on the bay that is in its original location and being used as a navigational aid for boaters up and down the bay.
The lighthouse is screwed right into the bottom of the bay. It's 8 feet deep and another 10 feet into the sandy bottom.
This is a cast iron screw pile. This cast iron was minted and put in 1875.
John Potvin is leading the project to replace what's holding up the lighthouse, the tie rods and beams. He's the preservation foreman, otherwise known as the chief volunteer and fundraiser.
And these iron beams have not stood the test of time.
So far, $190,000 in grants and donations is dedicated to the project, but there's still about $85,000 short to replace all the beams and tie rods. So a GoFundMe site is active. Work will begin in late August and continue for about 3 months.
So when we get done, we'll have a lighthouse that will have at least a 40-year life remaining.
We walked up the narrow stairs and through history. Volunteers have been working now for 15 years to make it more presentable for visitors. Tar was scraped off the original wooden floors.
The lighthouse keeper would have used this room for their socialization, whatever socialization they have between 2 or 3 people out here. This would have been where they played their games. There would have been books in here. They would have read a lot.
In 1939, the U.S. Coast Guard took control of the lighthouse. This room shows where they watch for boat traffic. Howard Lewis and his first mate Kathy have used their bay-built dead rise, what they call audacious, to take volunteers out to do the work.
We had just finished all the new railing and posts around the perimeter, and vandals came in and broke up all the pickets. So within 2 weeks, we had a tour going on and we got it back together again.
Including this TV that was broken into pieces.
It's just a certain charm about the lighthouse. Every time you go out, it's a different experience, and it's just so endearing and it's so unique.
So this is an example of some of the wood that the woodworkers have been working on replacing.
And we went all the way to the top of this national historic landmark where the light was automated in 1986. You can spot the Bay Bridge from up here.
The Fresnel lens takes a light from a light bulb, it's an incandescent light bulb, and shines it out for a very long distance. In this case, it's probably about 2 or 2.5 miles.
The public can take a tour on Saturdays through October. It's a popular place for fishing, and blue herons are attracted to the rocks nearby.
I look at the lighthouse from my house. I've seen it for years, and I want this to be here for my grandchildren and for my great-grandchildren.
This is the Bay's beacon, and with some help, it'll keep shining for generations to come and go. For Chesapeake Bay Magazine's Bay Bulletin, I'm Cheryl Costello.